What's up, YouTube land? Just hanging out, listening to some music. I was actually listening to some Hell Yeah. I got a Hell Yeah T-shirt on. I got a concert shirt on. I got in 2004. I saw them on their Blood of Blood tour. They were opening up for Volbeat and Five Finger Death Punch. I think it was 2014. I think it's the first time I really wore this shirt, but it's got a tour date from the back. Um, yeah, I made this video because to do like a kind of a tribute to Vinnie Paul, drummer of Pantera, Hell Yeah, Damage Plan, Rebel Meets Rebel. If you ever heard Rebel Meets Rebel, I was gonna talk about it if you haven't. But listen to the Hell Yeah in the background. Listen to the first album. Just kind of hanging out. I was gonna just go through all the Pantera albums, talk about my favorite, go through all the Hell Yeah albums. Talk about my favorite, talk about the Damage Plan album, and talk about Rebel Meets Rebel, and maybe just talk about what I've heard, stories I've heard, just talk about Vinnie Paul's career, career with Pantera, definitely talk about Don Bag and this, the band Hell Yeah, just kind of just talk about all that, and just talk about what my favorite album is of all the bands, I'm trying to think the first time I've heard, Vinnie Paul or Pantera. But anyway, Vinnie Paul's just one of my favorite drummers, period, in the metal world, rock world. He's just very innovative. At the time, he just did a lot of things that people weren't really doing, and very, very cool. I just always liked his drumming. He seemed like I never got to meet him, but he seemed like a really cool guy. Seemed like he liked to party a lot, Nothing wrong with that. I think he owned a strip club in Dallas. I think called the Cat House or something. Like I said, he's in one of my favorite metal bands, Pantera, with his brother, Daryl, which won this dime bag. I just think Pantera, is just one of the best metal bands ever. They're definitely one of my favorites. Great metal band. I heard nothing but good things about Daryl, Dimebag, and Vinny. Very nice to their fans. Just heart of gold. Always putting on a good show. Always all about the music. But like I said, I was gonna just go through their career, just talk about everything, and talk about their bands and what they meant to me, and just how I got into them. And I think I first got into Pantera. Just going to school, I would see, kids wearing Pantera shirts and back in the day when you had CD stores, I remember I went to Blockbuster Music, back when Blockbuster had a music store, and I remember they had a big display when, I think it was 1994 when Far Beyond Driven first came out. And I think it went to #1 on the Billboard charts, if I'm not mistaken. We had a big display, and it looked like the album artwork. And they had all 3 albums. Pantera only had I say 3 albums. I'm not including the albums before they had a major record deal. I'm talking about Cowboys, Vulgar, and then Far Behind Driven. They had them all 3 together, and I thought the album was so cool. And I think I had a buddy that had the album, or he had it on tape, and we were listening to it, and I was like, it was like the heaviest thing I've ever heard. Like. And I think at the time, as far as a metalhead, the heaviest thing I've ever heard was, Nirvana and Black Album, Metallica. I hadn't really listened to Master of Puppets at the time. And I thought Pantera was like the heaviest thing I've ever heard. But it was heavy, but I seem like anybody can like it. Like the way, the songs they had and just the way Dimebag played and the way Phil he was kind of almost doing like this kind of singing in certain songs, but kind of like keeping it, the edge, kind of a heavy metal singer. It sounded really different, almost like punk rock, metal, just mixing all these genres of rock and metal together. And it just worked. And Dimebag has had this way of like playing riffs, but it can still be catchy. Anybody can like it, Remember my buddy would just jam Cowboys from Hell like all the time. I remember we stopped at a light and we were just blasting Cemetery Gates off of Cowboys from Hell, and I love that song. That's one of my favorite Pantera songs. And the guy next to us pulled up beside the light. He's like, hey, he was like, roll down the window. So we run down the window, and he's like, man, what are you guys listening to? I was like, I thought he was gonna like, turn that shit down, but he was like, man, that's like fucking awesome. What is that? And I was like, that's Pantera, Cemetery Gates. He's like, oh, really? Huh? I'm gonna check them out. I was like, okay. But very very cool. I'm gonna go into kind of just go back and forth to each band, and just talk about it, what it means to me. And the first album I was gonna talk about. This is I think I always can't make up my mind of what my favorite Pantera albums, because they all sound like Pantera, but they all sound different. They always transition to different things. But the first album I'm talking to, I think this is my favorite Pantera album. It's really hard to choose my favorite, but I think this is really really close. But this is my favorite, and that's Cowboys from Hell. At first I really didn't like Phil's kind of high vocals. But over time, I actually really like high vocals. I couldn't listen to bands like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, and Phil kind of does this kind of Rob Halford kind of Iron Maiden kind of high note singing, and for a long time I didn't like that, but now I love it. And I think Dimebag just shreds on this album, and the whole band just sounds amazing. They got some great songs. I mean, you got classics like Cowboys from Hell, of course, Cemetery Gates. I love the song Art of Shredding. That's the last song. Very, very cool. Domination, Psycho Holiday. I mean, the list goes on and on. Every song on it is good. Such a solid album. Major label debut. And I don't have any of their albums before that. I know they had that singer Terry Glaze before Phil, but it's like my favorite, Pantera album. I mean, I can listen to this nonstop. This is like, I love it, man. It's just a classic. Got it on vinyl. This very very cool. Just kind of, I don't know. It's a classic metal. I love the cover. It's like an Old West, kind of like in an Old West saloon or something. It's just like the song Cowboys from Hell says. They're coming to your town. They're gonna take over. They totally are, like some outlaws or something. But like I said, I think what got me into the more higher singing after a while was listening to Soundgarden, listening to Chris Cornell's high singing voice. I just kind of got more, and then listening to Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, listen to Rob, hitting the notes, and then Bruce Dickinson, hitting those high notes. Yeah, and your taste has changed, and I love like '80s singers now. I love hitting high notes. I just think that's so cool now. But it's amazing some of the notes he hits on Cemetery Gates. But such a solid metal album. It's just up there with Master of Puppets and all the Black Sabbath albums. This is very cool, very class. It's hard to believe because it's so innovative when it came out that it's from 1990. So crazy, that it's that old. But very very classic metal album, so I could talk all night about it. But this past year on Amazon, I got for Christmas, I got the deluxe edition. I think this has been out for a while, but it's got like the digipack, and it's just really cool. You see them right there back in the day, and it's really cool. It's got like 3 CDs that come with it. I think one of them's like a live CD. It's got like a booklet telling about the history. It's even got an extra song, The Will That Survive demo, which is pretty cool. It sounds more like it could be on power metal than the Cowboys, but it's got a whole live album. It's got the Alive and Hostile EP. I haven't actually listened to that yet, but the album's like remixed and it sounds like amazing. But very cool. I'm so glad I got this. I'm about to get the other re-releases. I would love to have them one day. Just being a big Pantera fan. Like I said, it's one of my favorite bands, and this is what got me to pick up the guitars, Dimebag. So cool. Very, very classic album. I'm going to jump over from Pantera to Hell Yeah. I'm going to talk about Hell Yeah. Well, Vinnie and Dime, after Pantera broke, I guess Phil Asamo just had, I don't know what happened. There's different reports of what happened. He had a really bad drug problem, and he couldn't get off of heroin. And that went into, like, he didn't want to play in the band anymore. I think he was a little down, which I really like Down. And I think Dime and Daryl are just, I'm sorry, Dime and Daryl, the same person. Dime and Vinnie just kind of waiting around. They wanted to get Pantera back together. And after the last album, Reinventing the Still. And I think 2001, that 9/11, I think that kind of I thought I heard Vinny say that kind of affected the band. After that, the band wasn't, really the same after that. Like they got stuck somewhere after all that happened. So anyway, I guess they kind of officially broke up in 2003. And Dime and Vinny went and started Damage Plan with I think it's I can't remember his name. Patrick, is that the lead singer? And Bob Zilla, which was in Hell Yeah, and they formed Damage Plan. And they came out with that album Newfound Power. I think in 2004, might be 2003. But it took me a while to get into this band, into this album because I just thought this would just pick up where Pantera left off, and it kind of does, but it kind of does new things with it, and I think they even kind of experiment. It's definitely Dime on guitar, definitely Vinny on drums, and the singer, I think his name's Patrick Lackman. Excuse me if I'm saying it wrong, sorry, but he's almost got he almost sounds like a Phil Osamo, but he's definitely got he can sing high. I know the song "Save Me." He sings kind of high. It kind of reminds me of Chris Cornell a little bit. But it's got a lot of this album's really grown on me over the years, and I really kind of gotten to where I really like it. It's really hard hitting, and it sounds kind of like kind of Pantera back in Vulgar Display Power, or Far Behind Driven kind of a mixture of those two albums, but with a modern sound. But very, very cool album. This kind of grew on me. There's so many good songs. Got some cameos on the song "Fuck You." It's got Corey Taylor from Slipknot on that song. They made a song with Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains for the Punisher soundtrack for the 2004 movie with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. I think on the Japanese version that's on there, but sucks that's not on mine. I wish it was. That's a cool song if you ever heard it. But cool song to a bad movie. But this album's really growing on me. Really, every song's good. 14 songs. I mean, most of them are they rock your face off, and kind of diverse. It's got different kind of rocking on here. It goes from like super heavy, like Pantera, like the heaviest Pantera, to like kind of almost rocking, But very cool. Sad though. Dom was touring with this band, playing guitar, and a mentally ill fan shot him on stage, which is just devastated me. I'm still in shock over that. It's just hard to believe that something like that would happen. It's just devastating, especially rock icon like Dime. It's such an awesome, talented dude, and I heard he was like such a cool guy. This really down to earth, really cool to his fans. It just sucks, that kind of stuff happens in this world. But but he left such a legacy behind. I just hated that happened. But if you haven't ever checked Damage Plan out, definitely check him out. It's Dime, it's Vinny. They're just shredding on this album. Very, very underrated album. Very cool album. But after that, after all that happened, I guess Vinny said he didn't want to even do music anymore. But I guess Chad from Mudvayne and I guess Greg from Mudvayne and Tom Maxwell from the band Nothing Face, another cool metal band. I don't know if they taught Vinny into it, but they were just kind of, I don't know. I guess they did kind of talk him into forming another band, and they formed the band Hell Yeah. That's their first album. I'm listening to right now. I still think it's their best. I guess it's just kind of part of Vinny's kind of healing process, kind of mourning his brother. I heard he say this, like, just getting the band together and this going out really, really helped his healing process, which is really cool. If he never made music again, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't blame him. I couldn't imagine, seeing my brother tragically killed in front of me. I couldn't even imagine. But very solid album. It sounds like all the bands mixed together. It sounds like Pantera. It sounds like Mudvayne. It sounds like Nothing Face. And I think this the bass player is from the band Deadlights. That's another cool metal band. They only released like one album, but very cool album. I remember going to the grocery store before this came out, and Chad from Mudvayne and Vinny were on the cover of Revolver, and it's just some big letters that said "Hell Yeah," and I didn't know the name of the band. I was like, "Hell yeah, they're starting a band! This is awesome!" And I bought the CD, the day it came out, and I'm still listening to it. I was just blown away. I still think this is their best album. I love Mudvayne. I love Chad. I know Greg isn't in the band anymore. But I hate that because I feel like Greg is part of the sound of Hell Yeah, and I think Mudvayne officially broke up, which sucks. But still a kick-ass band. I know they get a lot of shit. I don't know why, because I think they're awesome. I think they do what they do. They just go out there and rock. This kind of they don't want you to think too hard. Just something you put on and drink some beers and just rock out to it. I saw them twice. Like I said, I saw them on this tour in 2014. They opened up for Volbeat and Five Finger Death Punch. I saw them again at Family Values in '07. It was like them. I think Trivium. I want to say Atreyu, but I can't remember. I think so. Atreyu, Evanescence, Flyleaf, and headliner was Korn. And Hell Yeah was awesome. They didn't. Their set wasn't too long, but I still really enjoyed it. They did a cover of Queen's Stone Cold Crazy, which I thought was like so cool, and it sounded like amazing. And Chad, the lead singer, he kind of seemed like he was like shit-faced drunk, and but he still put on a good show. But very, very cool. Like I said, my favorite Hell Yeah album. I think it's their best out of all their. They end up putting out 5 albums. I still think this one's their best. I'm gonna jump back to I was gonna do one of Vinnie Paul's kind of side bands. Another band he had with his brother Daryl Dimebag. He put this out in 2006. I think it was recorded like in the 90s though. I think this is like such an underrated album. I tell people about it, they are Dimebag fans. They've never heard of it, which like blows my mind. But I'm talking about Rebel Meets Rebel with David Allan Cole singing. Very cool album. I think this is some of Dimebag's like best guitar work, if you can believe it. He's got some awesome riffs on here, and such a fun record. It mixed like heavy metal with like country or southern rock. It's such a cool album, such a cool drinking album. I mean, my wife doesn't like metal, and she like really likes this album. There's a song, Cowboys Do More Dope, song number 3. At the end of the song, David Allan Cole, just out of the blue, says, don't take the purple acid, you have to get off the towers. And it just kind of makes you laugh because it's just so random and out of place. But me and my wife say that to each other, just joking around. But this is such a party album. And it's got a little bit of everything. David Allan Cole, like he didn't have the best voice, but God, he's in his 70s. But he's still like an outlaw rock star, country guy. It's David Allan Cole. He's a legend. But this is such a cool album. I got it at Target back in the day. I think 2006. I think Vinnie released it after Don passed away. But such an underrated record. I love this record. Like I said, if you're a Pantera fan, this because it's got David Allan Cole singing. Dude, don't check this out. Got Rex on bass, of course Vinnie on drums. Very, very cool band. Like I said, I think Don's got some of his best guitar work on here. And of course Vinnie's never slouches on the drums, but very, very cool. Check it out if you haven't. I was gonna go back to one of my favorite bands. This is my second favorite album by Pantera. Like I said, it was really hard choosing the places where the albums came, but this album is a classic. I borrowed this from a buddy in middle school, and this is what kind of got me into Pantera. And I'm talking about Vulgar Display of Power. So very classic album. I think that's really on the cover. That's really a guy getting punched. I think they paid him like $10 every time he got punched. They get punched like 50 times or 100 times, something crazy like that. It always changes, but if you're a Pantera fan, you probably already got this album. It's got one of their most classic songs. It's got Walk on it, but it's got a lot of stuff. And it's got Mouth of War. I always love the song This Love. I love my favorite Pantera song, and it's kind of, I don't want to say a ballad, but it's one of my favorite songs is Hollow. It's kind of got the Cemetery Gates kind of feel to it, but very, very cool song. One of my favorites. It's kind of what got me into Pantera. But this whole album is just slamming. They kind of, after Cowboys, they kind of went for a heavier vibe, and they did it. This album's like, I think it seemed like every album Pantera released, they just got heavier and heavier and heavier. Very, very cool. This is such a cool album. I love it. This used to be my favorite Pantera album. It always changes, but now I think it's Cowboys. But they got some great stuff on here. It just at the time it came out, Metallica came out with the Black Album, and other bands were kind of going for the grunge thing. Grunge was like at the height, which I love grunge. I love grunge bands, but this came out and just blew everybody's mind. It's probably one of the heaviest albums to come out. I think in '92. This awesome. This kind of just set the standards. Like Pantera is a force to be reckoned with. Very, very cool. Of course, the amazing drumming of Vinnie Paul. Of course, Dimebag's guitar work. Phil's vocals. It's awesome, especially on songs like This Love and Hollow. Kind of has the mellow vocals, which is kind of shows his diverse, vocal. But those songs like Not the War, they're just killing it. And got a new level. That song's awesome. Very, very cool album. Classic Pantera, definitely classic metal album. This is probably my second favorite Hell Yeah record. It's kind of go in order, I guess, of when they released, but that's the order. I kind of like it. But I'm talking about the Hell Yes second album, Stampede. This came out in 2010. Just after Mudvayne's last two albums, New Game and their self-titled album. But this, it kind of like leads off right where the first Hell Yeah album, left off. You got Cowboy Way, which it kind of could go on the first album. Hell of a Time, which is kind of like kind of following in the the footsteps of You Wouldn't Know. And I love the song Better Man. It's kind of like a ballad. It almost reminds me of Metallica's Fade to Black. But got some That's some really cool heavy songs. Order of the Sun is heavy. And, of course, you got, songs about strippers, Pole Rider, which is, it's cool, I guess, But, it's kind of like lame. But, it's still even my buddy Chris just feels in that song and kind of laugh. But, you got Cold as Stone is a cool song. It's a pretty good follow-up to the first album. I still like the first album better. But, this, out of all the Hell Yeah, like discography, I think this is probably second. I think it kind of I still like Hell Yeah, but I kind of think it went downhill after this record. I still buy them. I still buy all the records when they release them, but I just think it's kind of missed some of the edge. And I don't know why. It's just the direction they wanted to go to, but still, I still like all their albums. They still put out solid albums. I just think the quality of it kind of went downhill. I mean that in the best way, but like I said, cool metal album. I haven't listened to it in a while. I might pop it in, just listen to it just for the hell of it. I haven't listened to it in a while. This is probably a lot of people's favorite Pantera record. This is, might be their heaviest record. It's either this one or Great Southern Trendkill is the heaviest, but I would say this one's probably the heaviest. They definitely kind of experimented, I think, with death metal and grindcore, and it's just got, Dimebag's guitar is just like so heavy on this record. I think he kind of down-tuned a little bit, which he hasn't done a lot of. He kind of stayed in standard tuning. If you're a guitar nerd or play guitar, you might know what that means. But I'm talking about Far Behind Driven. So I think it's debuted on number one on the Billboard 200, I think, in 1994 when it first came out. But I think this is like one of my. I heard Vulgar and then I heard this. This is like kind of my first kind of taste of Pantera, and I was just like, wow, this is like the heaviest thing I've ever heard. I thought at the time I was listening to death metal and now I've gotten into bands like Death and Obituary, and this is kind of not death metal at all, but this is like, this is still a classic though. This is definitely, if I had to choose a favorite Pantera, this is definitely up in the top three. Like I said, I think I like how, in the order they came out, but this has got a lot of classics too. You got 5 Minutes Alone, I'm Broken, Becoming, Strength Beyond Strength. They did a Black Sabbath cover at the end of the album called Planet Caravan. If you get the Japanese version, they have a song that is actually on the Crow soundtrack called The Badge by the band called Poison Ivy. You got 25 years, Doors of Rejection, Slaughtered. I mean, every song is just so like heavy. I mean, it's just like they went to a new level of just heavy. Like every album they put out with, it just got heavier and heavier. And this is a classic. I mean, it's just when I write songs and play guitar, I when I think of heavy, this is one of the albums, Master Puppets and this, and I'm trying to think. I mean, it's just, it's just so, to this day, I think it's still, like, really heavy, it kind of, I mean, just the sound, Terry Date, the producer, he did Cowboys all the way up to Great Southern Trendkill. He did, like, produce Soundgarden, like Slipknot, and all these heavy metal bands, and just, I think his production and this, the band was just stellar. They just come off a tour and knocked this out, but, very, very cool. I think after this album, though, I think the quality maybe was kind of like going down, but I don't say that it's like a bad album. I'm just kind of, it's just kind of, they released 3 classic albums and they still did. I mean, I still like all their albums. Don't get me wrong, but I just think they're at the standard of the first 3. But I still love all their albums. But it's hard to beat. I mean, what do you do when you come off the steps of this? I mean, it's hard to. How heavier can you get? When you get off this, it's just kind of like they just kind of, you can't get any heavier than this. So it'd be really, really hard. I got this on vinyl. I got the original cover on the vinyl. It's a drill bit going to some guy's butthole, and I don't think the record label wanted that. But I like this cover too. I like the blue. I always thought that this looked really, really cool. Like I said, classic metal album. Definitely if you want to get into metal and you want to know what metal is, I would, Black Sabbath, early Metallica, and then this. This is awesome. Of course, amazing guitar work from Dimebag. Phil sounds amazing. He sounds heavier. Of course, Rex is awesome. But Vinnie really shines on some of these songs. I mean, this this is drumming. It just sounds heavier. Like he's just beating the shit out of these drums. I mean, man, awesome. But check it out. If you never have heard this album, definitely you gotta check this out. I would the next album I was gonna just go just talk about the rest of the Pantera albums. This is probably the first Pantera album I ever bought. I think I got it on tape at Target, and I love like this isn't my favorite Pantera album. At one time it was, but I think some of my favorite Pantera songs are on here. I think some of Dimebag's best solos are on some of these songs, and of course Vinnie. I think how could it get heavier than Far Behind Driven? There's some songs I think are heavier than Far Behind Driven songs on here, but there's some diverse stuff on here too. And I'm talking about the Great Southern Trendkill. Very cool record. Just like so heavy. I think Phil was kind of getting where he was kind of out of it. I think his heroin addiction was kind of getting worse. And I think they recorded in Texas, and while Phil was in New Orleans recording his vocals. So I don't think they were in the studio together recording this album. I think it kind of shows a little bit, but still, I mean, it's Pantera. I mean, it's still solid by heavy metal standard. This album still wiped any metal band out today. I mean, it's Pantera. But like I said, my favorite solo of all time by Down is the solo on the song Floods. Such a cool solo. I mean, it's just so amazing. And then the solo on Tens is like amazing. But this album's so heavy. I remember when I first heard it, I popped in, and the first song, The Great Southern Trendkill, that song is so heavy. I mean, it just goes right into it, and like Phil is just screaming his head off. I mean, it's still heavy. It just sounds amazing. And you got Suicide Note Part 2, which that song is so heavy. And then before it, you got Suicide Note 1, which is kind of like a acoustic ballad. It's got this eerie kind of feeling. It's just kind of dark. But very, very cool. I mean, I say that the quality kind of got, I just think maybe the band was showing signs of wear and tear. And still a classic metal album, I still love it. I still love Pantera. I still listen to it on a regular basis. Not saying, say the quality of music has gone down. I mean, maybe it's just I don't like it as much as the first 3 albums, but don't mean I don't love this album. Classic metal album. got so many like hard hitting songs. I think they kind of went in a heavier direction. Like I said, like Far Brown Driven, they were just keeping getting heavy and heavy and heavy and heavier with every record. I think Phil was kind of experimenting more with his vocals, kind of doing more of a death metal thing than on previous records. But very cool, such a classic record. You know, of course, Vinnie. I think his drumming is just getting heavier and heavier. A lot more double bass, like he was on Far Behind Driven. I mean, it's almost like they experiment with death metal a little bit, but it's got this kind of southern rock thing mixed in with it too. But solid record. First one I ever bought. You know, got me into the band, so it definitely holds a special place in my heart. But awesome record. This is the last Pantera record ever put out, and that is Reinventing the Steel. I remember this came out in 2000. I saw it in the newspaper. It said it was at Best Buy, which I was kind of surprised. You know, that's back in the day. They don't do stuff like that anymore. You know, this is probably my least favorite Pantera album out of all their discography. It's not like I love the album. The album's awesome. Like I said, I listen to it, you know, all the time. You know, not as much as the other albums, but I love the song. We'll Ground That Axe a Long Time. That song is so heavy. I remember me and my buddy Chris used to go to a bar, and they had one of those internet jukeboxes, and you know, most people will just blast rap like all night long. I do like some rap. You know, I'm more of a metalhead, but you know, I like the old rap, the '90s, you know, and the '80s. But in the new stuff, I don't like it all. But we will put in, you know, we'll put on this heavy metal music, and we'll grind the axe a long time. That song will come on, and it just seems like it was like turned up to 11. And that's a Spinal Tap reference, if you didn't know. But it'd just be so loud. And you could tell the manager, it would just piss him off. And that we would love it that much more. Very, very cool. You know, you got like Revolution is My Name. Yesterday Don't Mean Shit. I like that song. Goddamn Electric's got a guitar solo by Kerry King from Slayer, which is cool. Last Pantera album, you know, I never thought it would be, but sad, but it is. But still a solid album. I feel like Phil's vocals weren't as good. Maybe he wore out his voice a little bit. But I almost think this album's got kind of like a Sabbath vibe. Like, it's kind of more of a groovy. Like, they got away from the thrash and it's more groovy. But I still love this album. It's still Pantera. Look at the cover of the guy jumping over the fire, you know. I mean, you know, they were partying their ass off, you know, always. You know, I can't imagine how drunk that guy had to be to do that. But that's actually real. That's not CGI or anything or Photoshop. But not my favorite Pantera album, but still, you know, it's Pantera. I still love it. But definitely, I had not listened to it in a while. I might have to listen to it soon, you know, just for old times. But I remember when I first got it, I wore it out. It's a new Pantera record. Still a classic in the Pantera discography. Last Pantera album I got, I guess it's a live album. I don't know. This came out in 97. I don't know if they filmed it in 97. It's got their live set, and it's got 2 new songs at the time that were recorded. Talking about When a Woe Proof, official live. Awesome live record. For a while, I didn't really like listening to live records, but this is actually really good. I mean, I probably haven't listened to it as much as the other Pantera records, but I have, you know, listened to it several times. I'm such a fan. But, you know, you got the set list is the first song that came out is A New Level. Next song is Walk. Becoming. Song 4, 5 Minutes Alone. 5, Sandblasted Skin, which is from Great Sun Trendkill. Suicide Note Part 2. War Nerve. Strength Beyond Strength. They do like a mashup of Domination and Hollow. This Love. I'm Broken. Cowboys from Hell, which they actually, Dime cuts into the riff from Cat Scratch Fever, the Ted Nugent song, which they later covered for the Detroit Rock City soundtrack. Good movie, by the way. Then next song, Cemetery Gates, Hostile, and then the 2 new songs at the time, Where Do You Come From, which is a really cool song, and then I Can't Hide, which is really, really punk sounding, but cool song. But what can I say? This is one of my favorite live albums. It's up there with If You Want Blood, You Got AC/DC, Strangers in the Night, UFO. The song remains the same. Led Zeppelin. Very, very cool. A lot of binge shit. Metallica. This is up there. They sound amazing. It's Pantera. Very, very cool. Also, I have the I got this at Hot Top back in the day. I have the DVD, which has got all the home videos all in the one, all three of them all in the one thing, which was really cool. Have a lot of live footage. A lot of them pulling pranks on people. You get to really see their personality, and it's hilarious, especially Dime Bags. They're hilarious. They do a lot of funny shit. They're just always messing with people. It's awesome, and a lot of live footage. Very, very cool. But I was gonna go back. I got 3 more albums to talk about, and this is the 3rd album by Hell Yeah. It came out in 2012, I think. Yeah, 2012, and that is Band of Brothers. Cool album. I remember it being really heavy. Kind of falling in. I think it was a little bit more heavier than Stampede. But I remember at the time I listened to it like a lot, but I haven't really listened to it that much since. I might have to. I've been busting out my old Hell Yeah records and listening to them, so I might have to listen to this one again. It's been a while, but they just continue to do what they do. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I remember Band of Brothers being cool. Rage and Burn was cool. Drink, Drink, Drunk. I thought the lyrics were kind of lame, but kind of a cool song. I remember Bigger God was kind of a cool song. But this is kind of where I thought the quality of music started to dwindle. I don't know. I mean, I don't think Alcoholic Gas is really like, poetry, but I still, I thought it was better than some of the lyrics on some of their later albums. But I mean, still a solid metal album. I still love the band. I'm just kind of just being nitpicky, just being honest. But remember when this came out though, I used to listen to it all the time going to work, and my car's got a great sound system, got both speakers, so it sounded amazing, blasting at the stoplight, and 37-year-old kid, blasting metal, but I'm definitely have to listen to it this week and get a refreshed course on this album. But I remember it being really heavy, and I remember when it came out I liked it, but kind of listened to it maybe several times, and it got kind of lost in the shuffle with other albums coming out. But a solid album by Hell Yeah, no less. This is the 4th album. I'm actually wearing the shirt that they're on tour. I'm talking about the Blood for Blood album, and I think this came out in 2014. Of course, you had the Sanche to Sanche, which means blood for blood. I remember Demons in the Dirt was a cool song. I remember Moth, they were trying to kind of release that as a single for a while. It was supposed to be pretty cool, kind of a ballad. I used to always like the song Black December, last song on the album. Kind of remind me of like a 80s hair metal ballad for some reason, but it's still really, really cool. Remember this, I think this album had like a lot of heavy stuff on here. I can't remember if Greg Tipton, I think I'm saying his name, from Mudvayne, he came over to Hell Yeah with Chad, the guitar player. I don't know if this was his last album or Band of Brothers was. I want to say this was his last album, which I think really sucks. I mean, I don't know what happened. It never really came out what happened. I went and saw Greg's new band that he has, and he's got the drummer from Mudvayne called Autopsy. They opened up for All That Remains, and they were actually really, really good. I got their CD. I think it's called Natural something. Was it Chaos or Natural? I don't know. I have to review it one time, but that's another album I have to pull out and listen to. I haven't listened to it in a while, but I remember kind of having the Mudvayne feel to it. I can't remember what band the lead singer was. I want to say that band Scrape. There was a guy, the lead singer of that band Scrape, that had put out 2 albums. Early 2000s. Actually, I like them too. I think that's the lead singer of that band. They're supposed to be working on a new album, or it might already came out. I don't know. But they put on a good show, and I love Greg's guitar playing. But anyway, I think it was his last album with them, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, when this came out, I